Imagine if Captain Marvel was the villain. Such a fascinating concept, isn't it? Now just consider this for a second. I know it's not going to happen. I know chances are we may not even see Captain Marvel ever again, with Brie Larson saying that she doesn't want to do it anymore. And yet, I can't help but look at the alternative viewpoint of this whole thing. Whenever we watch movies, or any piece of media, we either praise it, or we crap all over it. We give our point of view. We give our reactions, our thoughts, the same way I'm doing right now. And yet, it's very, very rare that we get to hear or find other people that would give an alternative viewpoint. I remember watching a YouTube channel called Think Story. And many years ago, forgot when exactly, he did an alternative viewpoint for Game of Thrones Season 8. Because Season 8 was done so badly at the ending of the last few episodes, he wanted to give an alternative take. And it just goes to show you that there are so many people that are like him that are willing to put their own perspective just to make the storytelling better. And I'm pretty sure The Marvels is no exception. With how poorly this movie has done in the box office currently right now, and sure, you can blame the men. You blame the pandemic, even though it's already been a few years. Blame the SAG strike, the writer's strike. Blame anybody you want to blame. The numbers don't lie here. When the first movie did over $1 billion at the global box office, granted it was in between Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, it was a monumental thing. We thought we had gold on our hands, until we see how boring the character of Carol Danvers was. So, in turn, what could we do in order to make some kind of sense for us to enjoy something just a little bit more? Even though it's never going to happen. They're never going to spend another 100 million, 200, 300 million for another movie to happen like this. In terms of the alternative viewpoint, they're never going to do that. But it's fun to talk about. It's actually pretty fun. And I understand we've already gotten this perspective with Wanda/Scarlet Witch. If you haven't seen WandaVision, and you've only seen Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. How in the world could a character that we would love so much could just turn evil like a blink of an eye? But if you've already seen the show, you know that a lot of it has to do with the MacGuffin known as the Darkhold. So if we take that same concept and we put that for Captain Marvel, would the movie be slightly better to watch? Would it give us a reason to maybe, whether you hate Captain Marvel or maybe love her in some way, for her to show some kind of personality? For her to show a reason for us to either see of whether she's doing is right or wrong. Fascinating concept, isn't it? In the movie, we had two characters that have viewed Captain Marvel on a pedestal. We know Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, and her fangirling over this character. We also know Monica Rambeau. Again, if you've seen the first Captain Marvel, and in a way, if you've seen WandaVision, we see this character view Carol Danvers so highly that she can't do no wrong. And in the movie, Carol Danvers actually was afraid to come back to Earth because she was afraid of what she has done. You can make the argument that she is the main villain because she's responsible for thousands of deaths. For a world to not have this sun that is non-existent, and the air is poisoned, and the atmosphere is pretty much going down to shit. Now, what would happen if you were to take this story of the Marvels? You make Captain Marvel the villain. Of course, she would have to face off against Miss Marvel and Monica. And of course, she would do away with these two characters without a shadow of a doubt. And yet, in the end, hear me out. In the end, it would be Miss Marvel against Captain Marvel. And have Miss Marvel beat the crap out of Miss Marvel so badly, and on the brink of her maybe ending her life, she stops. And she sees that this little girl is a fraction of who she used to be. Someone that wants to do good. Someone that wants to be a superhero. That wants to do whatever they can to save lives. Because that's what a hero is supposed to do. What if we got that movie instead? Now, I understand this is all wishful thinking. I get it. I'm not stupid. Nobody is. But it would be a way better story than what we've gotten over the weekend now, wouldn't it? And if you truly think about it, this is in contrast to Captain Marvel being the antagonist of the Civil War II storyline in the comic books. So why not use that to your advantage? Brie Larson already knows that a lot of people hate her as Captain Marvel. So why not use advantage and actually turn heel, wrestling term, actually turn and be the bad guy? And I understand we've already gotten this with Scarlet Witch, but with that, it would be earned. And it would get us in a way of storytelling to see that Miss Marvel and Monica that have viewed someone so highly that maybe they realize, oh wow, this is not the hero that I looked up to. She's a monster. She's a villain. She's a bad guy. And maybe I have a chance of actually getting her to change her ways. I know what you're thinking. Why would Captain Marvel do this? Well, considering the movie we saw that she is in a way responsible for thousands of people's deaths, indirectly, considering the fact that we've seen the first movie and she herself even said, I don't know who I am, it could be a hell of an arc to show. I'm just saying, what if we got a storyline where Captain Marvel is the villain? And maybe there is one in the comic books, maybe. But in the movies, with enough preparation and enough time to develop a story for us to either reject a character or maybe embrace them, it'd be something interesting now, wouldn't it? And at the end of the day, it would be aligned to storytelling that we can all watch and view and maybe root behind. Because if you're going to hate Captain Marvel, you might as well embrace that hate. Embrace it.